Hello and welcome to Undead Gaming News, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. I'm your host Zombie, and first up this week we have Redfall, as it's now finally released and it has a very low perception, which has prompted Xbox boss Phil Spencer to apologise for it in an interview, where he said, "I'm disappointed. I'm upset with myself. I kind of revisit our process. I think back to the announcement of 60 frames per second, and then we weren't shipping 60 frames per second. That was kind of our punch in the chin, rightfully a couple weeks ago. And then seeing the game come out and the critical response was not what we wanted. It's disappointing. I want to give the Xbox teams the creative platform to go and push their abilities, push their aspirations, but I also need to have a great selection of games that continue to surprise and delight our fans. And we under-delivered on that. And for that, I apologise. It's not what I expect and not what I want." Phil also said delaying Redfall's release wouldn't have solved its most fundamental problems, because while there are clearly quality issues within the game, its bigger problem is the fact that the game isn't realising the creative vision that it had for its players. He also said that the review scores for Redfall came in at double digits lower than what Microsoft expected based on their internal mock reviews. Despite the rough start, Phil said Microsoft and Arcane remain absolutely committed to fixing and improving Redfall, and compared it to Sea of Thieves and Grounded, which grew from small releases into popular successes. He said, "But I know that those games aren't $70, and I'm going to take full responsibility for launching a game that needs to be great." But that's not all from Microsoft, as they've also announced the next Xbox Games Showcase, which will begin at 10 AM Pacific Time, or 1 PM Eastern Time, on June the 11th, and it will be followed immediately by a Starfield Direct, which will be a deep dive into the game, and a look behind the scenes at Bethesda Studios. And you can watch both of those streams on the official Xbox channels on YouTube, Twitch and Facebook. Microsoft also confirmed that a follow-up Xbox Games Showcase extended stream will run on June the 13th, also starting at 10 AM Pacific Time and 1 PM Eastern Time. In other news though, to celebrate this year's Star Wars Day, the original concept art for the character of Luke Skywalker will become a playable character in the form of free DLC in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. It will be available via the Jedi character selection screen. But over at Insomniac Games, they've now announced that you can buy Spider-Man Remastered on the PS5 as a standalone game. Previously, of course, if you wanted Spider-Man Remastered, you would have to buy the Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, as it was locked behind that. But now you can buy it on its own, and there is an upgrade path if you already own the original Spider-Man on PS4. But it's not free. It will be a $10 upgrade, and do keep in mind that if you have the game on disc, make sure the disc is actually in your PS5 before attempting the upgrade. And all your save data from the original will also carry over to the remastered version, and if you're an avid trophy hunter, then the platinum will also auto-pop for you. In other news though, the official Twitter account for System Shock released a tweet that received a lot of backlash. It said, "How can you challenge a perfect machine? Imagine how would my immortal body look like, designed by an immortal machine for an immortal machine." They also attached an image which is a piece of AI art, and the backlash to this tweet was mainly directed at developer Night Dive Studios, who are of course developing the remake of System Shock. And in response to the backlash, they released a statement where they said, "The Twitter account is not controlled by Night Dive. The original and subsequent posts were made by Prime Matter. These statements do not reflect Night Dive's values, nor are they accurate in terms of the development of System Shock." To be clear, no AI-generated art was used in the development of System Shock. In addition, Prime Matter addressed the reaction by saying, "An AI using AI to imagine what AI would look like in physical form doesn't get more meta than that." Shadowman was one of the first examples of AI running amok in video games, and the potential of AI being smarter than humans is a concern felt by many, and given the events at Google feels very timely. This reference is of course to the departure of Geoffrey Hinton from Google. He has been referred to the AI godfather, and when he left he made a few warnings about elements of the field that he found quite scary. However, Prime Matter goes on to say that this was purely about using AI to imagine what AI imagines itself to look like, rather than replacing any human creative endeavour. They ended by saying, "We will use AI again to create other pieces, including artwork. We may well use AI in other areas too, but this will never be at the expense of using skilled people or their creative talents." We'll know soon enough if developer Night Dive can actually deliver what really matters, as System Shock is due later out this month on the 30th. In other news though, action horror Shadowman Darque Legacy has been announced, with developer Blowfish Studios set to create the first Shadowman game in over 20 years. Based on a comic book series, Shadowman follows a line of voodoo warriors who protect the living from evils crossing over from the dead side, the land of the dead. Darque Legacy will be an original story for the series, and follows Jack Boniface, a novice showman, as he fights to protect Liveside. As detailed on the Steam page, players will fight horrifying enemies, solve puzzles, and upgrade Jack with new skills as they explore the realms of the living and dead. It's set to launch in 2024 and will be available on the PC, Xbox Series S and X and the PS5. As for our final story though, Unity has laid off approximately 600 employees in their third round of layoffs within the past year, according to a new report, which says that the company is looking to cut the number of offices that it maintains worldwide nearly in half over the next few years, from 58 down to 30. According to Unity, the layoffs are part of an effort to reduce layers of management, streamline its operations, and improve the company's profitability, with Unity CEO John Riccitiello saying, "It's all about setting ourselves up for higher growth." Ubisoft Software was founded in 2004 and is best known as the developer of the Unity game engine, a cross-platform engine that's used for PC, console, and mobile and VR game development. The software is also used in non-gaming fields, including film and the automotive industry, and AI development. The job cuts follow two previous rounds of layoffs, one in January and one in June of 2022, which saw more than 500 people out of work. The 600 employees let go in this round represent a little more than 8% of Unity's total workforce. But that's all we have time for this week. If you have any thoughts on anything discussed this week, please leave in the comment section below as always, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.